Okay, so the first thing, I have all these different layers at the top, and I do have a skills section that has the logo and then the scan to work from. So I'm just going to hide a couple of these layers just so you can see it. If I zoom in down below, take the text tool, as soon as I click, it'll give this format right at the beginning. And just USA right there. So that's basically the font if I go into this particular piece. Okay. If I highlight this text, I can just go ahead and type out the first couple letters and it'll send me to that font. You'll see that this section of the font is still a little bit small, but I'm going to stretch it, put it up into the corner, and hold the Shift key down and stretch this down until the S becomes just a little bit larger. And I'm going to give it a stroke of black so it just makes it a little bit thicker to that piece. Why this is highlighted, over in the character panel, there's the section that has the kerning. When you leave the mouse over it, it'll tell you this is the tracking. So I'm just going to highlight there and just use the arrow key, or I can click inside of this, but I'm just moving the letters across until they tighten up so it's enclosing the space a little bit. Okay, I'm still going to make this a little bit larger, so I just increase the font size until I get to the height. And that's where you can kind of see that this is, can tighten this part up a little bit. So it's just kind of adjusting it back and forth to get a couple of the pieces there. So once you get most of it set up, I'm just taking a look at the the two S's, just spreading those apart. And you can see that when I do that, some of the font is connected here, and the USA is divided. So I'm going to take the text tool, and now I can click in between two letters and use the option on the keyboard with the arrow, and that'll spread it apart. I can use the arrow just to move it over, and it'll move the letters apart this way too. So you can kind of see that. I can also highlight these sections again and create the scale. Now here's the vertical and horizontal scale if I'm trying to adjust for that. So I can adjust the width of the type at the same time, and I can also adjust the height. So I can have it independently of each other. So if that's the case, then you can adjust this. I'm just trying to fine-tune it as I get into there and see what I've got. So now, before I take this apart, I'm going to option and duplicate it down here. Take this part and take the fill and just take it off so I can see this font. It's just the outline. That's the section. And I can continue to keep it back in there. But under the type, there's a part that's going to let me create outlines to this part. So that's the section for this part. So type. Let's see. Here we go. Fill. Object. File. Let's see if it's going to let me do that. Create outlines right here. So now this is all outlined. It's still grouped together, so I'm just going to go to Object, Ungroup, and now I can select separate pieces. So I'm just going to zoom in to this part so I can see I just have to clip this part out. So I'm going to take the pen tool and just kind of go right inside here and make a shape. And you can see that's building that part up. So from this point down to this edge, coming across, I'm just kind of eliminating this section with the shape. I'll give it a different color so you can see that. Here's the Pathfinder tool. Select both of these with the Shift key and just eliminate that part. So I just set that section over here so I can adjust it, put it closer to that piece. So there that has the skills. The only other part is this section right here, I'm going to take the direct selection tool. You can see that there's these points for this one and this one. So I'm just going to select around this piece, and it has these 4 points. I just want the 2 top ones, this one, so I'm just going to hold the command and it'll let me select this. So if I select them, they're all highlighted. Take the shift key and just eliminate these 2. Under object path, you have what they call average, and you can go vertical or horizontal. I'm just going to go horizontal, and it sets them onto the same point. They're still selected. So I'm going to select these 2 and average them and do horizontal. Now I just move them up a bit. Let's see, I think I had a little bit of connected in there. So just to show you again, it's that point and this point. So when you select put a selection of rocks around both of them, all 4 of these points are highlighted. But again, you just want these 4, so just kind of make sure that you get those 4. I had a little bit extra. So option on that one. So shift key that one and that one. So these 2 are selected. Object path, average, horizontal, puts them up at the top. Okay, so then you just keep, they're still selected, so hold the shift key down to grab these 2. So now you have all 4 of these points highlighted. And do the average. And that straightens all that piece up. This part down here with the number 1, you can just arch it up this way and curve the handles right here. These are the handles for these points. So now you have that selection, and now you just have to focus on the red section. So all you're doing is taking a rectangle tool, zoom in to this edge, start at this corner, and just make that shape. Use the eyedrop tool to select that red. And just go Option, Shift key to move this up, and duplicate that up. So that's the first shape. You're just making them straight to start off with. I'm going to Option and put this right at the corner. Stretch this one down and up, and then Option to move this one up here. Duplicate that up. And just do the same with the last one, just kind of adjusting. You can see this one is touching it, so I'll just touch that corner. Come over just to the base of this corner. So now I have all these pieces, and then just go into the reflect tool. I'll leave the mouse over so you can see it, and just click once at this corner, because this is where you're going to rotate it from. I'll make it so the lines are there. That's the point of it's going to start to skew itself over, and just lean it right over. If you hold the shift key, it'll go straight across. These, as they come out, might be a little long, so take the direct selection tool, draw a selection box around all these points, and just use the arrow key to move that over. Swap that color across. Select these. Swap that color. Select all of these and just group them. And then back away from this part. Move this part over. Make a selection on this. Group that together. Take the eyedrop tool, select that blue. Right there. Shift key to select both of these, so these are both selected. Just go to Object Group, and now you have this particular logo all set. Okay, so there you have it. And this one you can also take and make it with a thicker line if you wish. So you can do that just by going into the stroke panel, show options for it, and give you that thickness to it. Good. that section. So see how you do on the logo for the skills.